Kyle Larin not quite able to receive the pass from Johnston down the middle. Jesse Marsh, the Canadian coach, has been calling for a red out. Wants to see a lot of red and white in the stands. I'm not sure there are enough red rain ponchos in the city of Edmonton to adhere to the coach's dress code for this match. Larin, he shoots! Looked harmless enough, but it's still got Namathov to dive. Just the one prep touch, and from about 24, Kyle Larin in search of goal number 31 for the Maple Leaf. Step from Moise Bombito. Kone trying to get free from Shukurov. Feels like they must be upwards of a dozen fouls now, Uzbekistan. So in any other circumstance, we would say this is very odd. This is part of the match plan, 30th minute, and some predetermined substitutions being prepared by Canada. Richie Laryea, one of the players on a half-hour minutes restriction. Nico Segura will come in for him. Should likely see Alistair Johnston move from the right back to the left back. Luc de Fougerolles also standing by for the next stoppage. Buchanan. Forearm shove on Ashurmatov. Into touch, and fourth official is ready with his substitution boards. So Bombito getting his first action back in Canadian colors. He certainly had a dramatic moment. Losing his footing, pardon me, going down and sending Uzbekistan on a break. Richie Laryea also comes out as we expected him to do in the 32nd minutes. For de Fougerolles, cap 12. Kyle Larin, 3v2 for Canada. Miller joins. Excellent sliding tackle from Hosanov. Now it's a 4v2. David's cross. Liam Miller runs back post. Flung himself at the ball. Might have been a yard, two at the most, away from making contact. Nice little hurdle from the Canadian captain, Eustachio, and then David knew where he wanted to put it.
Substitution for Canada, number 23, Nico Segura, entering the match for number 22, Richie Laryea.
Luc de Fougerolles of the Fulham system. Spent the last season on loan in Belgium. We'll line up to the right of Derek Cornelius, and at least for now we're seeing Segura play as the left back. Johnston stays on the right side. He's done very well for these first 32 minutes. Segura can play as a fullback or defensive midfielder. Dual national with Croatia, where he plays for Hajduk Split. Good ball, lost for a moment. Buchanan, a little more readiness, might have had a chance to toe poke it past the keeper. Canada holding 57% possession, each nation with one shot on target from two attempts. Kone, Excellent move. He's caught at the last moment. Referee says play on. Kone's not really arguing. And that's why Manchester City are so excited about that young player. Abdulkadir Hosanov. Perfectly timed. That is textbook. Some work to do for the Canadian sub Segur. Looking for the corner off Cornelius. It will be a throw in beside the corner flag. Chirp of the whistle reminding Uzbekistan of the pace of play rules. You'll hear those little chirps for goal kicks and throw-ins alike. It means the player who's got the ball has 5 seconds to put it in play, otherwise they lose possession. The Fougerolles steps forward. Johnston, hardly any contact, and that's what the referee is saying as well. Buchanan was caught. He went sliding down to the grass. It's Miller. Kone went sliding. Eustaquio also chasing. Vezulayev starting this whole sequence off. Eustaquio back into position. Gets his tackle on time this time. Nasrullayev, his cross. Game of Plinko right now at the Canadian defenders' heads. From the left side to the right side of attack in the 37th minute. Canadian supporters doing their best to encourage their side through to the halftime break. Won't be much for Maxime Crépeau this time around. He and his biggest challenger for the starting position for Canada. They both play in Florida now this season in Major League Soccer. Dane St. Clair, who we expect to see in the second half, of course, with the reigning MLS Cup champions Inter Miami. Liam Miller makes a great run for Kyle Aaron, flicked up at the last moment. It took Abdullayev going to ground to break up the cross. Otherwise, it's surely 1-0 for Canada. Seager with a great start to the build with that dish out the left wing. Miller trying to connect with Kyle Laird, who made the right run. It's a good sequence for Canada. Eustachio, another outswinger. Cornelius felt it off his thigh. Problem was he didn't see it. And then Miller with a crunching tackle. He will join the referee's notebook as the first Canadian shown a yellow card, and then a little extras, where we just see Abdulkadir Hosanov and Liam Miller squaring off against each other in the Premier League one season from now. No love lost by the looks of it there.
A yellow card issues to number 11, Liam Miller from Team Canada.
Jesse Marsh has been mostly fairly reserved in the dugouts for these first 40 minutes. There goes Miller. Down goes the right back. Miller's into the box, makes another move. He's going to turn and shoot. His initial instinct had been to pass. He didn't think it was on, and then he had basically run out of time. Tajon Buchanan. With Villarreal in La Liga. Last stop, the Canadian winger, and out for a goal kick with less than 4 minutes from first half stoppage time. Fougerolles finally turns and makes a move. It's off of Shukurov and out for a Canadian throw. You know the World Cup is near with the amount of friendlies we're seeing. Just as the calendar flips over to May. Derek Cornelius, might he become the fourth player booked? Yes, says the referee. Just got his timing all wrong.
A yellow card has been issued to number 13, Derek Cornelius from Team Canada.
Free kick from the Uzbeks. Good ball. Honor save. Maxime Crépeau. Well, if you're trying to prove to your gaffer that the glove should be yours at the World Cup finals, saves like that will absolutely do the trick. Whether or not that goal would have stood irrelevant to the save that Maxime Crépeau just made. Left-hand larceny from the Canadian. Might be the last save he makes today, Maxime Crépeau. See how well Canada are able to manage the last minutes of this first half. It has not been a great start to life in Orlando for Crépeau, taking 43 goals in his first 14 matches with Orlando City. His goals against per 90 is at 3.27 as well, with just a 60% save percentage. Paul Rosen to touch. It will be Stefan Eustaquio. Likes to hand the ball off to Nico Segur instead. I'm not sure how much Jesse Marsch will have learned from this first 45. We'll see at least 2 more minutes before the halftime whistles are blown. Can Canada give the waterlogged supporters something to cheer about and talk about at the halftime break? Miller, nice change of direction. Eustaquio. Jonathan David racing after the ball. Looked like he decided not to try to get a touch. He thought it was last coming off of the Uzbekistan defender. Jesse Marsch, Stefan Eustaquio, all saying the same things. Nematov's restart. Segur into the back of the lone substitute for Uzbekistan in the first half, Abbasbek Feyzulayev. Buchanan, Johnston, nice first touch, return to Buchanan. Buchanan's cross, couldn't get underneath Hosanov. Canada had the Uzbeks pinned. Everyone other than Eldor Shomurodov back defending. It was a 9-1 formation for a moment there. Buchanan. Tajon Buchanan gets around the defender, lifts it high, swatted down and swallowed up by Nematov, and that should be it for the half. Scoreless 45 minutes from rainy Edmonton, Alberta. This international friendly is scoreless at the break, thanks in large parts to the Canadian goalkeeper Maxime Crépeau. Made a great stop. Believe it would have been offside anyways, but it was as close as we came to a goal. The Uzbeks offered Canada some troubles, but after 45, it is Canada 0, Uzbekistan 0 from Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton.
It takes resilience to perform at the highest level.
In Edmonton, this international friendly is still looking for its first big moment of magic. Canada 0, Uzbekistan 0 after 45 minutes under the rain in the Albertan capital. My name is Adam Jenkins. Great to have you along with us. Lots of Canadian supporters in the house, and I'm sure more than a handful will be making their way over the Rocky Mountains and taking in some matches at this upcoming FIFA World Cup finals. Very, very interesting to see who is on the pitch for Jesse Marsch when the second half does get underway, and there had been a little bit of concern that this luxury suite containing some of the injured players for Canada, most notably Alphonso Davies, might be growing a little bit larger. We saw Moise Bombito come off the field in the 30th minute along with Richie Laryea. Bombito was limping to the tunnel with a bag of ice taped around his left shin. We knew he was not fully fit. We knew it has been a long time since we have seen Bombito for Canada. Jesse Marsch trying to make some calculated decisions today about who to play and for how long, just to understand who might be available to him when the World Cup rolls around for Canada in just 11 days from Toronto. So as Uzbekistan make their way back onto the pitch, we are expecting wholesale changes for Jesse Marsch. We already saw Luke de Fougerolles and Nico Segur enter. It's looking like Jaden Nelson, Ralph Priso, Nathan Saliba, Jonathan Osorio, and Tani Oluwaseyi all coming in for Canada. 45-minute performance where they will try to break the match open. You see Jaden Nelson, Austin FC player. See other players with their match shirts on, Saliba being one of them, Mathieu Choinière, shirt number 6 as well. Canada will look very different in the second half, to put it mildly. And of course, the change that we knew was coming definitively. Dane St. Clair. For some, I'd say the camp is pretty much split in terms of Canadian supporters. Who should start against Bosnia and Herzegovina? If you were to throw some Monopoly money on it right now, it would likely be Dane. Mathieu Choinière of LAFC to enter into the Canadian central midfield, and we will track any substitutions that we might get from Fabio Cannavaro as well, the Italian head coach of Uzbekistan. With the rather large exception of Jonathan Osorio, not the most experienced in terms of caps coming onto the field for Canada. Valuable minutes being offered by Jesse Marsch to some of the players that he's not even expecting to need to bring with him to the final 26. Now, if Canada are injured, if Bombito is more seriously injured than we might think he is, that pool could increase. You look at Zobasong and Priso and Nelson as the three in particular who might have an opportunity to make a cameo here. They were told to stay fit and ready. I'm not sure Canada themselves were ready for that very disjointed and awkward start to the second half, but away we go nevertheless. It's Uzbekistan wearing white and blue. They defend the goal to the left side of your screen and attack now Dane St. Clair's goal to the right. Canada in red, working from right to left. Juventus is Jonathan David. Jonathan Osorio into the box, looking for the runner, Tani Oluwaseyi. Abdulkadir Hosanov. Everyone else for the Uzbeks trying to figure out who they're marking now as Canada start off the second half looking very, very different. Oluwaseyi is wrapped up by Abdullayev.
Okay.
Oh, to press Ralph Priso. Saliba towards the middle. Choinière. Osorio, Oluwaseyi tried the dummy through the legs, couldn't reach Nelson. Husanov, nice little flick from the first half substitute, Feyzulayev. Replaced Aziz Haniev, who was both booked and took a knock on the 25th minute of the opening 45.
That went right. I know. I felt it.
All right, so trying to make sense of all the changes. There were plenty. Ralph Priso looks like he's playing left back. Cornelius de Fougerolles in the center. Nico Segur goes to the right as Alistair Johnston comes off the fields. Jonathan Osorio is playing on the right wing for Tejan Buchanan. Saliba and Mathieu Choinière, the central midfielders. Nelson's the left winger. David is now playing as the 10 underneath Tenny Oluwaseyi. And that should just about cover it off. Foul against Oluwaseyi. Teammates with Tejan Buchanan and Villarreal.
Substitution for Team Canada.
Well, the public address announcer has a bottle of water with him right now.
For number 25, Nathan Saliba.
Confirmation also coming under the score bug in the top left corner. Who's in, who's out? Cap 23 today for Mathieu Choinière's little brother David, captaining the new Canadian Premier League side FC Super du Québec. David out for Segur. Nico Segur. Cross intended for Oluwaseyi. Nice hustle from Saliba. A little excited Saliba had been. Saliba cap 14 today. Plays for Anderlecht in the Belgian Pro League.
Substitution for Canada Soccer, number 24, Fonda David, entering the match for number 11, Liam Miller. Substitution for Canada Soccer, number 12,
Shermatov.
Entering the match for number 9, Al Larin.
Odile Hamro-Bakov wearing shirt number 9. You don't usually see that number playing at the defensive midfield position. 3-4-2-1 or a 5-4-1 depending on the phase of the game. For Uzbekistan today, Canada have struggled to really break down this defensive block. That is not a new phenomenon for Jesse Marsh's side. David's advantage being played for Canada as he was nearly hauled down to the grass. Couldn't complete his pass for Tenny Oluwaseyi. Hamro-Bakov, Abdullayev, and the keeper Neymatov. Captained by the captain Shomurodov, right along the touchline. Poked by Osorio. Captaining Canada in the second half, captaining Toronto FC in Major League Soccer. Uzbekistan quarterfinalists of the 2023 AFC Asian Cup, hosted and won by Qatar. Will be in Canada's group of the upcoming World Cup.
Ready? Ready? Hey, ready?
Shermatov. Sky's starting to open up just a little bit more. Not that it's ever really stopped in Edmonton over the last 24 to 36 hours. De Fougerolles. Center back from Fulham. A head off the knee of Nasrullayev.